So we have this. I'm sure some of you guys have seen the reports regarding this. It says U.S. lifts sanctions on Syrian leader ahead of meeting with Trump. Syrian President Ahmed al-Sharaa is set to meet with Trump on Monday, and he indeed met with Trump on Monday. That's right. If you guys don't know who Ahmed al-Sharaa is, he was a leader in Al-Qaeda. He was a leader in Al-Qaeda. And he's the one that Netanyahu and Trump decided to hand Syria over to after the whole dethroning of al-Assad. And this dude is notorious for doing many things, including mass casualty events, beheadings, killing American troops, slaughtering Christians, and all that type of stuff. And not only was he given over into Syria as the leader of it, but he was taken off the sanctions list, and he was invited into the White House to meet with Trump. So the United States on Friday removed sanctions on Syrian President Ahmed al-Sharaa just one day after the United Nations Security Council lifted similar sanctions ahead of his meeting with President Donald Trump next week. According to a notice on the U.S. Treasury Department's website, the United States removed specially designated global terrorist designations on Sharaa and Syria's Interior Minister Anas Khattab, who was also in this at this trip and in the White House as well. I hope you guys understand that. The U.S. Treasury Department put a notice on their website that says the United States removed specially designated global terrorist designation. They took it off this guy. That's right. He had a $10 million bounty on his head by the United States government. Al-Sharaa is the former leader of the U.S. designated terror group Al-Qaeda, who was once wanted by the U.S. as a terrorist with a $10 million bounty on his head. He has even served time in the infamous Abu Ghraib prison, making deals with the people. Now, it's important to bring this up. We've talked about it before, but just in case you don't remember, or you're new here and you don't know what I'm talking about, how this was able to happen in Syria is because Al-Qaeda, if people don't know, was a created, funded, and trained terrorist proxy group that was ordained or created by the United States military and the Israeli Mossad. They're the ones who created this group so they could use them in the Middle East to cause havoc in order to move things around the board and put pieces where they're supposed to be. And so that's where that whole situation comes from in regards to that. Now, when it comes to how this dude who was connected to Al-Qaeda was able to take over in Syria is because, and we talked about this and showed all the reports and the timings of everything. It took 2 days for his Syrian rebel group, Al-Sharaa here, to go all the way up Syria, occupied Syria, Iranian forces, the Syrian military, everything just all over the place. And they managed to work their way all the way up into Damascus and overtake it in a day, because the United States military and the IDF bombed a route for them to get up in there in 2 days, which would be impossible if they were not receiving help and this was not all planned. You would need to suspend all reality and all disbelief in order to believe that they actually managed to accomplish that on their own. If you actually do believe that, then again, I've got beachfront property in Montana that I'm willing to sell you. But that's why this is all happening. So the fact that they put this dude in position and then they're just lifting sanctions, inviting him to the White House and doing all this stuff is because this was clearly orchestrated when it came to this. If you guys don't know, here's some pictures. That's actually the real bounty that was put out by the United States. Stop this terrorist. Mahad al-Jawali, he had like 3 AKAs. That's one of his AKAs, up to $10 million for him. And then those are the pictures from when he met Trump yesterday, on Monday, in the White House. Terrorist who killed American citizens, or American military and slaughtered Christians. Sitting there. Big old smile on Dumpy's face there. Yeah. This comes with this report. It says Trump deploying U.S. military to Damascus air base. Major Syria shift. Going back to Syria. The White House is preparing to deploy the United States military to an air base in the Syrian capital of Damascus to help shore up a potential security pact between Syria and Israel that U.S. President Donald Trump is currently brokering, according to a new report. This is, we'll just get to this first. The new country's president, Ahmed al-Sharaa, is due to meet with Trump at the White House on Monday, which they did. Historic first for a Syrian head of state. The U.S. in June lifted long-standing sanctions on Syria and has petitioned the United Nations Security Council to remove its own measures leveled against al-Sharaa. The U.S. is planning to use the base to keep an eye on a possible agreement between Israel and Syria. It's not clear which site is referenced in the report, nor how many U.S. troops would be involved when they could arrive. And there's, again, the picture of them in the office. This is interesting to keep tabs on what's going on with this, with the Syria, because Syria is that northern doorway for, let's say, a gigantic army to make their way through and down into Israel, which we know will play a prophetic event later on. So this could be a play where they start building an agreement and an alliance and getting all this stuff prepped and everything like that. And Israel's sitting there thinking that they're good to go. And then all of a sudden the doorway gets opened for the armies of the north to make their way in. So this is definitely something to pay attention to. That's my route of thinking when it comes to future prophetic events, which I don't think we'll be here for. But it's definitely something to keep in mind, because that would, if there's we're all good. I helped install this guy in. We're going to have a security pact. We're going to work on all this stuff. Everything is going to be gravy. We're good to go. And then all of a sudden the doorway's open. That could be a play when it comes to false security on that situation. So